Welcome to Afterlives with Kara Cooney, in which we discuss ancient Egyptian history and relevant current events that we think will be of interest to our audience. I am Kara Cooney, and I'm a professor of Egyptology at UCLA. This podcast is separate from my teaching and research roles at UCLA. In recent years, I've become active in communicating with the general public about the history of ancient Egypt through lectures, interviews, social media, books, and guest appearances. This podcast is my opportunity to take the kinds of deep dives into history that are not always possible in academic formats.
We will be releasing some season 1 content that was filmed during the pandemic of 2020. I don't know why I did 2020. Maybe there's another one. These were originally released on Kara's YouTube channel and Facebook. We have decided to release the audio from these videos as individual episodes, but we wanted to provide some context as well. Hopefully this keeps everyone sated until the release of the new season at the end of the summer. So episode 2 is about the craftsman's village of Deir el-Medina. You recorded this March 30th, so a couple days later. And some notes I wrote down, right? You're talking about Zoom classes and how annoying they are. Our 3-hour graduate seminar on Deir el-Medina, which I think is what inspired this episode. Taping undergrad lectures for your kingship class.
Seems to be a combination of craft with craft.
Yep.
Technology, using technology.
The PowerPoint not working, the PowerPoint failing. Having issues with PowerPoint. So what made you, inspired you to choose Deir el-Medina? We were talking about it in class, obviously, but it's such an interesting case study for ancient Egypt in general. And I feel like a lot of people know about it, but there's so much good preservation and evidence from it. There's always something more that can be said.
Well, Deir el-Medina is a place that is very close to my heart. And some of my first dissertation work was at the site of Deir el-Medina. And I stayed at Ahmed Soleiman's hotel, the Amun El Gazira, and I rented a bike and I strapped all my stuff to the back of the bike and I rode to Deir el-Medina all by myself and hung out for a couple of weeks in a tomb by myself to look at coffins. Which was an awesome experience. The inspector wouldn't come down because it was also filled with dead bodies that Ann Austin has recently organized. Same tomb.
Oh,
it's a storage
cool.
tomb. It was tomb number 3 at the site of Deir el-Medina. She has since brought order to those bodies, but they were just there piled in the room next door. And I was looking at the pile of broken coffin fragments. I went in and said hi.
Be like, hey,
I went over and I said, hey, you guys, been studying you for a while, reading your divorce documents and your letters and your receipts and all this stuff. So thanks for giving so much. And I'm just going to be here looking at some of this stuff.
Don't mind me.
You don't mind me. I'll just be over here. And so that was great. But Deir el-Medina is this extraordinary place that is almost hermetically sealed because they dumped a bunch of people in the desert. And without the Nile inundations and the wetness, so many things are preserved. So you have not only homes and the detritus of life preserved at the site, you also have tens of thousands of texts that preserve all of the cerebral details of what those people were doing.
Text messages, essentially.
Essentially, yes, the little receipts. They're little receipts from the grocery store or their divorce documents or whatever.
Or so and so ordered a bed to be made or sandals or something like that.
And that was my work for the dissertation, was how much people paid for a coffin, what kinds of things they were interested in, who crafted it, and just all of those craft production kinds of discussions. And so Deir el-Medina it's an awesome place. You could spend lifetime studying this. So
it was a great class. Really good. And I think actually the Zoom made it work, so we were able to have other professors come in from outside the States that could Zoom in and give us some lectures and stuff. So I particularly enjoyed, it was my actual first class focused in on Deir el-Medina itself. So that was really interesting and just an amazing site.
We could do a whole seminar on Deir el-Medina maybe someday, but I mean, doing the Valley of the Kings we kind of did just through the back door or the front door. Through the front door.
The front door. And then and then what happened after too.
But enjoy that one. Enjoy that.
Continue watching. You could do it this time.
Oh, it's Afterlives with Kara Cooney.
Bye.
Hey everyone. What a day. First day of the quarter. at UCLA, first time teaching Zoom. I think I've been on Zoom for about, I don't know, 6 hours today. So it's been a long one. My son's at his dad's because I can't. Oh, hey Marissa, how you doing? I can't watch my crazy rambunctious kid and do Zoom classes. And one of my Zoom classes was 3 hours, grad seminar. So that was fun. It actually was fun. It was really good. And we all talked about our lives and we felt like we were having like a little party. So it was nice. But the first part of my day was kind of a disaster because I'm taping my Zoom classes, my lectures for my undergrad class on divine kingship in advance because I can't deal with the live pressure, though I'm doing it right now, but the live pressure of a class, right? With the PowerPoint and everything working and you being able to point things out and here's this and here's that and getting your lecture all right. I mean, when I'm talking to you guys, it's just like, whatever. But when you're talking to a class and you're going to like grade them and stuff, I like to be a little more thorough and complete and have notes and everything. And so I had one of my TAs start the Zoom and I tried to share the slideshow and I couldn't because PowerPoint kept crashing with the Zoom. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do it with Keynote. And then I moved it over to Keynote and then I started the presentation. And halfway through, I realized that I was doing it with half the slides. And so all of my discussion of authoritarianism was jacked. It's my nice word for that. And so I have to do it again tomorrow. So we will have a do-over. And I am only glad that I didn't have this disaster in front of, I don't know, my 200 students so that I didn't have to then panic and stress and go, oh my God, no. So I did that. And then I had a faculty meeting for an hour. And then I had my grad seminar, which is about Deir el-Medina. And so I thought, since we figured out our syllabus, I've got about 10 people in the class. People all decided what they wanted to work on at Deir el-Medina. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about Deir el-Medina and what this place is about. So Deir el-Medina, and I've mentioned this a little bit before, but this will be fun. Deir el-Medina is this village in Thebes, Western Thebes, on the West Bank, the land of the dead, the land of the setting sun. And they live in between the river, Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens. And then they're in the valley, kind of in the middle. And they're out in the middle of nowhere in a bone-dry desert area that you had to bring water into and food into. You can't live there without some sort of support. And the state sets them up there, and they have these stone houses out in this beautiful, quiet valley. And then depending on what they did that day, and they had a 10-day work week, 9 days on, 1 day off. Ancient world, right? And they would walk one way when they were going to the Valley of the Kings, up over the hill and into that hidden valley, and another way when they went to the Valley of the Queens, into the hidden valley. And this place was active from dynasties 18 until dynasty 20. And during this time, these literate workmen were keeping all kinds of records about their economic activity, their work activity in the Valley of the Kings or Valley of the Queens, or at home in their own tombs, making their own coffins. And they're talking about trading an ox for this many small cattle like sheep and goat, or selling bread or selling linen from the home. You get legal texts, you get receipts and workshop documents and all kinds of stuff. So I thought I'd show some of the stela, because there's stela from this place too. And this is a really wonderful set of, can you see? There we go. It's called Ramessid Inscriptions, historical and biographical, wonderful press. They're reprinting these, Abercrombie Press. It's an Egyptological friend of mine, Ben Davies. He's great. And this is written by a wonderful guy named Ken Kitchen. And he collects and hand draws, because it's way easier and faster in some ways than using a font. all of these different Egyptian texts. And so here you've got that, see Stela Turin, and you've got a stela about, let's see if I can read this backwards. Oh, okay, yeah. So he even tells us, I'm going the wrong way because I got it on mirror, sorry. See Hathor right there? And there's the name right there of the goddess Hathor. And she is called, she is the mistress, and it's a cool way of writing the sky and the horizon right there. And then later on it calls her mistress of power and mistress of, do you see the two lands at the very end, middle finger right there? But focus on the name for Hathor right there. This is a wonderfully sexy name. It may not seem like it's that sexy. You're like, it looks just like a box. It looks like a box with a bird in it. It is a box with a bird in it. But Hathor means the seat of Horus, the palace of Horus. And that box with a little box in the corner, that's the house or the palace. And then the Horus bird is the god Horus. So she is the home of the god Horus, the seat of the god Horus. If you want to get a little sexual about it, he is inside of her. And it is meant to have a sexual connotation to it. Hathor being goddess of sexual activity, of drunkenness, of all of the things that the sun god needs. And of course, is one of the oldest manifestations of that god upon high. So this book is filled with stela and tomb inscriptions, page after page out of how many pages? About 900 pages in this volume 3. And all kinds of information about Deir el-Medina in that book. And we're going to use those as research tools, which is pretty fun. And then I wanted to show you what the texts themselves look like. So at Deir el-Medina, they recorded things on papyrus because that's a typical Egyptian medium, right? You take the papyrus plant, you beat it down into a wet pulp, and then you lay those papyrus leaves this way and that way, interwoven with each other, and then you hammer them, make them wet. And this creates papyrus, that of the palace, paper, papyrus, right? This is where paper comes from ancient Egypt, which is pretty awesome. But papyrus must be crafted. It costs something. It's not something that you can easily get in Deir el-Medina. They did use papyrus, but they used it for very official state business, right? If they were doing something in their own village on the side, they would use something that was easily at hand in their own desert community. And what they would use is limestone flakes. So if all you do all day is dig in the Valley of the Kings and or the Valley of the Queens, or in your own tombs, and you're cutting out pieces of limestone, and the limestone breaks in nice flat areas, I'm mirrored again, in nice flat ways, you create a brilliant writing surface for yourself. And it takes pen and ink very well, this limestone, and then you write on this from right to left. And sorry, the mirroring is freaking me out. But you get an idea of how this works, and then the Egyptologist will create a transcription, because reading that hieratic cursive is pretty damn tough. So you want to get a nice transcription so that you can see in the formal hieroglyphs that we know and can read more easily what that hieratic cursive is actually saying. And you can see in this text here that you've got some amounts listed, you've got names listed, you've got titles listed, and I know you can make out a little bit of this here or there. You've even got a donkey listed, which I'm going to focus on right, let's see, right, oh dear, there. Do you see the, right there? Do you see the long, narrow sign, and then do you see the penis underneath it? that's a sign for which is a sign for a donkey. So it's talking about livestock, it's talking about buying and selling things, it's talking about all kinds of wealth that the Deir el-Medina people had. And if you think that ancient Egyptian people were strange and mysterious, and you just think about pyramids and solid gold things, then you need to learn about Deir el-Medina, because it's they're just, it's like, what is it? It's Us Weekly or whatever the magazine is, the gossip magazine that says, stars, they're just like us. Well, this is ancient Egyptians, they're just like us. And the Deir el-Medina Egyptians, they really are just like us. They want to have festivals and get drunk. They cheat on their spouses. They get divorced. They beat their kids. I don't do that. Never. You've seen my son. Why would I do that? But they have normal emotional lives. They want to try to get rich. They want to try to get a good price. They're trying to get a side hustle. All of the things that we do. They fall in love with the wrong person. All kinds of stuff. So if you're interested about the goings on of the normal ancient Egyptian, I would encourage you to check out Deir el-Medina. So sorry I didn't get to your questions this time. We'll do that another time soon. And I just ignored all of your questions. So hold them for another time, and I'll report back. So everyone, stay safe. Sheltering in place, and we will have another lesson soon. The Deir el-Medina class is going to be pretty fun because we're focusing on art and architecture, tombs, coffins, economic texts, graffiti, all kinds of different things. So I'll get back to you with interesting visuals and stuff. And we'll actually do some ancient Egyptian text reading in our Deir el-Medina seminar. So till next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll be in touch. Bye.
Thank you to our listeners for your support and for subscribing wherever you listen. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a 5-star review and help raise our profile and let others know about it. Send your questions related to the show and topic suggestions for future episodes to karacooney@gmail.com. You can find the video version of the show on my YouTube page, and full show notes will be posted in the podcast section of my website, karacooney.squarespace.com. For that, thank you, Amber Myers-Wells. There you'll also find info on my books, upcoming lectures, and you can subscribe to my newsletter. You can find me on Facebook at Kara Cooney Egyptologist and on Twitter and Instagram at Kara Cooney. See you next time on Afterlives with Kara Cooney.